So I'm going to go see Aquaman a couple weeks early, and it's just a new theater that's just built in Scottsdale. Dude, it's huge. Yeah. It's sick. It's got its own. Dude, I can't wait. I just met Alice Cooper. I don't know if you know who Alice Cooper is. Rock star. I'm going to show you. Hey guys, and welcome back to Economics and Comics. So, we just got back from seeing Aquaman, and
wonderful.
It was.
You saw a different movie than us.
I thought it was good, but anyway, Bill from Economics and Comics, of course. We have Joel and Mike Massey from GoWithTheTwins.com, and all the information's there for you guys to look. Now you can put a name to the face and the other face, and let's just get right into it, guys. Thanks for taking me, by the way, and yeah. I'll take it away.
So do you want to start? You want me to? So I guess I'll start by saying that there's a lot of films, especially when you deal with comic book films, that are critic-proof. This is the kind of film that I strongly believe it's going to make a ton of money, regardless of what any critics say about it. You know, because people who are fans of DC, people who are fans of superhero movies, will watch the film one way or the other. So this is just like Star Wars and Harry Potter. There's certain franchises that are critic-proof. People will go and watch them one way or the other. And so I don't want to discourage anybody from seeing this. However, when you talk about superhero movies, they aren't necessarily all good. There is a spectrum even in superhero movies. Even if you love these characters and you love, you know, what DC has been doing recently or what Marvel's been doing recently, there's a spectrum. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I think this one's on the lower end of the spectrum. And one of the things I want to mention is something like Guardians of the Galaxy. What Marvel did with that was they brought a new tone to a superhero film. It was a much more comedic thing, and a large part of that had to do with the director and just the way that story was written. It felt like one person wrote it and had a singular vision, and so you had, as a result, the mood was consistent. Yeah. You know, very comedic. You know,
this film was directed by James Wan, but I feel like if you didn't know that, you would never know it by anything in the film. His personal touch is not in this movie at all. It's almost like director for hire.
Yeah, and again, the point I was trying to make with Guardians of the Galaxy is that's a film that feels like everybody was on the same page. There's a singular vision, maybe, or at least it was communicated to all of the. You know, film is a very collaborative effort, but his vision was given to everybody, and everybody shared it. In this film, it feels like there's 20 different writers, and everybody brought a different element.
Or somebody's
to the story.
Basically telling James Wan what he can and cannot do. And
There could have been a lot of that going on, and I think it's unfortunate because DC has so far been less successful in coming out with the really, really fun, crowd-pleasing type films. And although some people loved or hated Justice League and the Batman v Superman, I think this was an opportunity for them to let everybody know that they had the same piece of the pie that Marvel has. They've got lots of characters that have really complex backstories and histories, and this would have been an opportunity, a little bit like Wonder Woman, you know, to bring a character that people could really get behind, and that it did not work for me because again, it felt like 100 different people had their hands in the ingredients and 100 different chefs, right? And
well, you definitely felt like it was numerous movies all kind of merged together.
Oh yeah, you have Avatar, you have the Clash of the Titans, you have
Pacific Rim was
Pacific
the one I noticed,
Rim, you have even Spaceballs. There's a part even space, you know,
the Abyss,
the Manta. I mean, he's got the giant. He looks like Helmet.
Yeah, so that was a very strange one. Since you brought it up, I'll elaborate on that. The one of the villains. There's a lot of antagonists in this one, but one of the villains is Black Manta, and this looks like a bobblehead. This character is so unwieldy. He comes on in frame, and he's just lumbering about like it's comical. I thought it was a very poor.
Well, they
design.
tried to give a comical reason for why the head is that big.
Yeah, but it's just a very poorly executed character.
Yeah, although I did like him. We're going to have different opinions
sure,
here.
Absolutely. Defend it.
I thought Manta was cool.
I felt like his fight sequences were a little better than some of the other ones.
Well, I mean, you gotta understand though. This is a normal guy in an outfit trying to fight. It's like Batman in his suit trying to fight Superman. You know, it's cool. Batman's smarter. Anyway, I wanted to say one thing about how they're saying how this is their chance to, match Marvel, and you know what? After seeing this movie, I don't think they're gonna go for that.
No.
I think they're staying with their original, older, kind of not too funny superhero movie. I was hoping it would be as good as Wonder Woman. Some parts bothered me, but I actually enjoyed it because, look, there are no underwater movies. So it's kind of like that Avatar feel with the coloring and even Tron. I mean, there's so many different things in there. It's like, I'm telling you, it's like 10 to 12 different movies.
Well, an interesting aspect is that in the undersea kingdom of Atlantis, there are 7 kingdoms, or 7 realms.
Like the 7
basically.
seas.
Yeah, so there are almost, I guess there's 7 different landscapes they've created, cities, and, everything looks vastly different. So, that...
I mean, they're all underwater, and there's different types of fish dudes. Yeah. But, we were talking about in the world, and I think I compare it most, I feel, it's Black Panther. But it's DC made it, trying to...
Black Panther underwater.
Trying to copy the whole story of Black Panther. Even though it's underwater. I mean, I enjoyed it because I like that weird world, Atlantis.
In the comic book world, which came first? Black Panther, Aquaman. Aquaman's much predates it, right?
Yeah, Aquaman's older. I'm almost 100% on that one, yeah.
Ooh, well, you gotta know.
Well, yeah, he's one of the original.
Somebody in the comments.
I have to look. God, I'm gonna get killed now.
Yeah. For me, this was a very mixed bag. I feel like every time there was a great action sequence, right after there's kind of a crappy one. Every time there's a really cool costume design, right after you see something really weird. And every good piece they had of this, there's like a counterpart that's just bad.
There's some things that they do in this film that they do so many times that it becomes comical. And one of those things that I'll mention, there are 2 things that are prominent. One is the posing. Posing is something that superhero movies have been doing since the beginning. There's a lot of poses. But there's one moment in the beginning, and this is in the trailer, the scene where he attacks the submarine, and he's got his line that says permission to come aboard or something like that. Anyway, but by seeing the trailer, you kind of know exactly how that scene plays out. But he poses as he jumps on top of the submarine, and then he comes down through the porthole and manhole, jumps down there, poses again, and then he throws a couple guys around and turns around and poses again, and it's literally like 3 of these very specific freeze frame poses that it gets very obnoxious very fast. And the other thing that I want to point out was that they're at no less than about 5 times in this film, 2 people will be talking and there's a little bit of calm, and they'll be saying something, and then boom, there's a big old explosion, and
it's
they get
the same explosion every time.
It's like they just reuse the CG explosion. And there'll be 2 characters literally sitting there saying, so the other day I was minding my own business, and boom, an explosion comes
and you know it's coming too.
And you know it's the first couple of times I thought, that's interesting. I wonder if they're doing this as some kind of a little motif or if this is an inside joke. But by the 5th time, it is outright laughable.
In the series, it is the exact same explosion. Yeah. Like the exact color, everything. It's
pretty ridiculous.
It's funny he said that because I thought that, but I don't know. I mean, honestly though, I loved it visually. I did. I was hoping that it was going to be really good and pulling for DC, even though I'm a Marvel guy, besides Batman. But I think they hit the mark as best that they could. And I think it's geared towards children. I really do. I think there's going to be a lot of toys and people that love water and anyone. There is not a movie like this. Yeah. There is not an underwater movie.
Again, with the visuals, so, as far as, for example, ship design. So there's a really cool, kind of half ship with, octopus tentacles, and it's kind of a fun merge. But then right next to it is, a ship that's just shaped like a sea turtle. And it's really lame.
Yeah.
And then you've got, the city designs. You've got this really cool, outer city inside underwater and everything. But then they get in this throne room that's just white. And it's really, it doesn't match. It doesn't seem like it belongs in that world. And then the costumes. Some of the henchmen, the henchmen for the the king.
One thing
that looks great. And then they go over to Amber Heard's character, and she looks like Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Well, they're just fine with me. That was great. I loved Ariel.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things. I was joking on the ride over here that this is it's almost like the live action Little Mermaid, but with a harder edge, because you've got the Triton. Is one of the things that they're going after.
The Trident?
So, the Trident. Yeah, like King Triton is what I was trying to the name I was trying to think of. But yeah, it's almost like the Da Vinci Code. They're having to, or National Treasure. They're having to come, treasure maps and ancient legends and all this kind of stuff, and they're trying to unearth this
very
Trident.
Sword in the Stone stuck in the middle. But I kind of like that treasure hunt idea. It's an okay concept to kind of.
But better way, Indiana Jones.
Right. Yeah.
I thought Indiana Jones at the same time.
That's too high praise. That's why I said National Treasure, which is like the poor man's Indiana Jones.
It's not even National Treasure either.
Yeah. It's Sahara? What was that one?
You know the part when they do the key? I thought Fifth Element, but first I thought Fifth Element before when they're entering the city.
Yeah.
But then when they did the little thing to open the thing. That's total Fifth Element rip, dude.
Yeah,
even the whole part was Fifth Element rip.
Yeah, and that goes back to my comment about so many different writers. There weren't a lot of writers necessarily, at least not credited, but it felt that way because so many ideas are borrowed. So as you're watching this film, there's very, very prominent moments where you'll say, "Hey, that looks like Clash of the Titans," or "Hey, that looks like Pacific Rim," or, "Hey, this looks like The Abyss," and there's dozens of films you could probably reference as you're watching this film.
For the comic book world. Does this movie take any specific storylines from the Aquaman
comics?
Well,
sure. There are a bunch of different
So do they merge it, or is it like literally is this his origins in the comics is what they translate to the screen?
I don't know exactly if the origin's the same because I know that all the characters in there and stuff like that. I'm sure it's probably the same origin. Like I said before, I'm a Marvel guy. I mean, I can tell you origins on a couple people.
No.
I can tell you Wonder Woman. I can tell you Batman. I can tell you Superman. But when you tell me Aquaman, I'm like, guy talked to fish, dude. Who cares? But I think visually it was great. You know what I really liked? They did trailers before, and they did the King of Godzilla trailer, right? And I got touched, and I've seen it before, and I started clapping. Like I was the only one.
You were the only one.
I was like, you know what? Everyone poop. It's all critics.
Everybody else had seen that trailer.
I know, but every time it does it to me. I'm telling you.
To be fair, though, I do really enjoy the giant monster movies, and I was a fan of Pacific Rim. I like
this one's gonna be good. But we're jumping off topic.
Yeah.
So,
I do want to mention, and this isn't really a spoiler, but there's there's 7 undersea kingdoms or something. That might be a line from Little Mermaid. Anyway, one of the undersea kingdoms is the Brine kingdom.
That was so stupid.
It's like
when I heard it.
Yeah,
I was
when I first heard the kingdom of the Brine, I joked in my head like, oh, it's the pickle people or something. But then when they repeated it, when they repeated it, I thought, this is indeed Brine. It's not Prine or Crine, or maybe I had misheard it. No, it's the kingdom of the Brine, and they're like crab people. But I kept.
Is a brine a crab?
No, a brine is the
those
thing.
Those little shrimpy things fly around.
No,
it's a prawn.
That's a prawn. Brine is the thing the chemical you use to pickle things. That's why I meant.
Oh, okay.
So I kept in my mind. I kept thinking, what the next line is going to be, and next we conquer the peaceful porpoise people, or something so ludicrous, because there's a lot of very silly things that take place in this film.
Look, you take your kids to it, and they're gonna love it.
But the problem is with this
comic book fans are not
with all of the action.
I love it.
With all the action and all the violence and the PG-13 rating, it doesn't on the outside appear as if it's geared toward kids. Once you've seen the film, you might say, yeah, you know what, this is a little bit more silly, it's a little bit more immature, and so kids will really like this. But I think if you're going into it as an adult, a huge fan of the DC universe, you might come away thinking, wow, that was awfully juvenile for what I was hoping.
Yeah, well, I think with the way Batman kind of reshaped comic book films, people want more serious, maybe.
Well, no, those movies are darker than this.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Dark Knight, you gotta go dark, But I'm just saying, like you know what I mean? So they're trying to get away from it, but DC is on this kick of they're not Disney. Yeah. It's that simple. They do not, and it looks like they put a lot of money in this movie, but
for sure
they cannot compete with Disney. They're gonna make money. That's why they're in this.
This movie's already made an obscene amount of money in China.
I saw something about that, and they loved it. And look, I loved it. Okay, I was hoping the end would just give me that final ending that I really wanted, and it just went. And I went, oh. But besides that, it was really visually fun. The kids are gonna love it. It's a family movie. I thought my eyes were just, everything was, it's like seeing Avatar. I mean, Avatar is incredible, but to me it was like a whole new world, because it is.
Isn't that a line from The Little Mermaid?
Are you serious?
That's one of the songs.
Oh my god!
No, that's Aladdin.
I don't want to say that.
That's Aladdin.
Okay, I don't want to say it because we could get like copyright or something. But anyway,
one little gripe: Willem Dafoe is in this movie, and he's already been in several superhero movies, has he not? He's Green Goblin, and he's been in other things.
It goes back to the Chris Evans thing.
Yeah, have they run out of actors?
How about Dolph Lundgren?
Well, Dolph Lundgren's in it.
But what other superhero movies has he been in? You know, since you mentioned
it kind of takes you out of it a little bit, right?
Nicole,
when you see somebody that has already been in a superhero movie.
Nah, that didn't affect me.
So Nicole Kidman's in this, and you know, this story, they go back, and if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the scenes where young Arthur, Aquaman, whatever his last name is talking to the sea creatures in the Boston Aquarium, right?
Yes.
And, you know, where he's getting bullied. And anyways, that scene's in the trailer, so you know that there's going to be flashback moments to where when he's young and whatnot. Well, it's funny because Nicole Kidman is in some of those flashback scenes, and she looks young, like Nicole Kidman. And then later, when she plays the older version of Nicole Kidman, she doesn't look like she's changed at all, because...
Well, she's like a god, dude.
Well,
she's like a
she's
goddess.
Had some work done too.
She's the queen of Atlantis.
Yeah, Tamira Morrison, on the other hand, you know, at the beginning he looks like a young guy, and at the end you're like, ooh, he aged. But Nicole Kidman never ages through the course of decades.
Well, that's Wonder Woman's really old. It's just they're gods,
I suppose.
Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed. Any last words? Family movie.
I'm glad you liked it, because
I wanted something.
I think most critics will not like this.
Well,
film.
you know, you guys.
But again, as I mentioned at the start, it's critic proof, regardless of what a lot of these critics say.
I would say, you know, don't necessarily let critics dissuade you from seeing it if this is something you're.
They're going to go see it anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
but also, just because it's Aquaman or just because it's a superhero movie does not mean it's automatically good. Use your brains and think about how this matches up to what all of the other franchises have done and what DC's done. And I think you'll have a better idea of how to compare and contrast how good Aquaman really is.
Yeah, I think it's a step backwards from Wonder Woman. I feel like.
Oh well, yeah, they can't. I was hoping, but Wonder Woman's really good. But visually, it's way better. Visually, I'm sorry, it's beautiful. Me love it. All right, well, thanks so much, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see you next time. If you want more movie reviews, check this out.